Hello, my name is Scott Chacon. I'm the CEO of GitButler, and today on Bits and Booze, we're going to be talking about sapling. Not sapling, like the young wine vines that we see behind us in Napa Valley, beautiful California, but sapling, Meta's version control system. So join Caleb and I to talk about sapling, drink some Puy Fumé, and have some fun. Welcome to another episode of Bits and Booze. My name is Scott Chacon. I'm the CEO of GitButler. I have with me here today, once again, because so many people requested that he be back on the show, Caleb.
Woo!
Thank you for coming, Caleb.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about what the bits is going to be, because we're going to go over sapling. And you have not used sapling before. Or you haven't
I tried it out like 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't really sort of get the concepts back then, but...
What is it?
Oh, it's a version control thing.
Okay, it's a version control tool. Not unlike Jiu-Jitsu or GitButler, right?
Yeah.
Like it kind of works with Git servers and has a slightly different way of dealing with commits and saving work and whatnot. So we're going to get into what it looks like, what maybe we can learn from it from a GitButler perspective, and any ideas we want to steal. And it's made by Meta and has been kind of used by them for a long time. So we'll get into that in a second. Before we get to the bits, let's get to the booze. So today, what I have is I have 2 wines. Actually, we're gonna do a taste test between Sancerre and Puy Fumé.
Okay.
They are both in the Loire region of France. So these are both Sauvignon Blanc.
Cool.
The thing about Sancerre is that it's a very well-known word, and as I think I've told you before, anytime you recognize a word on a bottle, you're paying partially for that word, more than for the liquid inside of it.
Okay.
Puy Fumé is a small village that is right across the river from it, and they grow the same grapes, they make them essentially the same way, they produce them the same way. Typically, this is going to taste almost the same as this, but this will be cheaper.
Right.
So if you're going to spend 20 bucks on a bottle or whatever, get this one rather than this one.
Makes sense.
This is the smart man's Sancerre. As is tradition on this show, we go straight through the cap.
Reading, and the reason...
Just roll with it. Okay, let's try them out. I like that one. They actually do taste a little different to me.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's brighter. I want to say brighter. Can I use that? So you've already installed Sapling. It's brew install Sapling. And then I already saw you try to type it. You cannot type Sapling.
I think I started off with SP for Sapling.
Sure,
right?
sure.
I then
What else do we have?
ST because I was just mistaken. Sure. And I then tried typing Sapling in its entirety.
Also not a thing?
No.
SL. Sapling is SL. And you get the command. Now, let's start by cloning something. So like Jiu-Jitsu, Sapling has sort of different backends that it can use. So it has sort of its internal one that they use at Meta, just like Jiu-Jitsu has its internal one that it uses at Piper or whatever at Google, but it has a Git backend. So typically, if you're not working at Meta, you would use the Git backend for this. Let's do a clone of GitButler.
Sure.
So the way that you do this is actually a GH thing. So do you have GH auth login?
Let me try. So the GH is the GitHub CLI.
It's the GitHub CLI. And it uses this for sort of token management if we're going to open up pull requests. So, and I want to show that. So let's go ahead and do that. So auth login and then --git protocol HTTPS. Let's just do this over this for now.
Cool. What is this? Just SL clone. Okay, so
this looks at it go.
This looks like a Git clone, man.
It is a Git clone, and run SL.
So well, CD GitButler.
So like Jiu-Jitsu, Sapling has sort of, if you just run it with nothing, it essentially runs its smart log.
Neat.
You can also run smart log, SL smart log, but and it should do the same thing.
Cool.
But this is sort of the command.
Ooh, it's got more detail.
It has these little hints. It's like, don't fucking type smart log, you idiots. What do we have here, right? We have essentially the remote master, so the origin master, whatever. So this is the last commit on the repository. So let's go ahead and create commits. So make some change.
Cool. So let's just, append some contents to the README. I think that
and then actually do a change to another file too, so we can see something else.
There we go.
Okay, and actually, as long as we're doing this,
Sure.
do some changes to a new file. Testaroni. The San Francisco treat. Okay, so now run SLST or status.
SLST, cool.
Right. So now this gives you a status output,
Nice.
and you see a couple things. You have some modified files, and you have a new file that it sort of doesn't know about. So run SL commit just so we can see what it does, right? Okay, run that. I was wondering if we actually had to do this or if it would just take the git config stuff, but apparently you do have to run this. One thing I really do like about this is that it's pretty good at giving you hints when it instead of just being like, go fuck yourself, it's like, here's what you probably want to do, right? Like I'd really like to have us put that in the butt command.
Especially with like agents using these tools now. Having the hints
it's like, here's what you should do, right? Okay, so let's commit. Yeah, SL commit.
Ooh.
I guess there might be like a template that we can change somewhere, but it's like summary and a test plan. Like it really wants a test plan. But anyways, just put whatever in this.
Rubbish. Next.
Perfect.
Summary made it better. Test plan. Nah. This is how they do it in Meta, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
So we've made the commit.
Okay. So now we've made a commit. You have the thing run SL status. And what you should see is that we had a file left behind. So testimony was left behind. So what's interesting about Sapling is that it does not have an index, like a staging area. You can run SL add, but what SL add does is say start tracking this file.
Yes.
And you can also say SL forget, and it will stop tracking a file for like the next commit, right?
Because that's a massive pain in all doing that with Git, right?
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's a nice thing. I think it's actually a little bit more similar to how Mercurial, a lot of this stuff is a little bit more similar to how Mercurial did stuff. But so if we want to add that, let's do that. Let's do SL add testaroni and SL commit. And
I'm trying really hard.
And you can see in this thing kind of what the short stat is. Right?
Yeah.
So you can see what you are doing there. But yeah, let's do something.
Cool.
Okay. So SL again, let's see what we got. We got two sort of commits. Now you have a little bit of a stack, right? Actually, let's do a third commit just so we have a third commit to do.
Sure. Yeah, whatever.
So SL add, SL commit. Yeah.
And commit.
So now we have a little stack.
Awesome.
Now they really treat this as a stack. So there's ways that you can go around. So like in Jiu-Jitsu, you can say like edit, right? And like check out something in the stack. And you'll also notice that we didn't create a branch, right?
No.
So let me show you how to go up and down the stack. So you can say SL previous, right? SL prev, right? And then just run SL again. Now you've essentially gone back in the stack,
now
right?
Here.
Yeah. Cool. And so now you can like edit this or like amend or whatever, but it's put your working directory kind of in that space. Or if you commit now, it'll branch off of this one, right?
Okay.
So the other thing that you can do SL next, and it'll go up the stack. You're really not good at typing SL yet.
No, it's the worst letter combination ever.
So SL again, and you should see that you've gone back up the stack, the little add thing. And so that's put the file back in your working directory, right? So now let's branch. We'll do SL go. And then type in this F2C. So we'll kind of go back to where we were. Yeah.
F2C9.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. And then SL. And you should see close. Now you've gone back to sort of where you started.
Right.
We do have these 3 commits that are sort of in your history.
Yeah.
If you commit again, you don't have to do new branches or whatever, right? You go back and then you do more commits and it branches off and it keeps track of all the heads that you sort of have. Let's do that. Let's do something small. You can add to the README again, maybe.
SL commit. We don't need to add anything,
right?
So
it's a already tracked file, so you don't have to do add in order to stage stuff.
Cool.
All right.
And
so now we have a little branch. The next thing I want to show you is the cool little web interface that they have.
Ooh.
So do SL web.
SL web.
Now what we have is this cool little web interface, and this is interesting because you kind of helped work on this for GitButler, right? Where you could do like but serve or something, and it would do something similar. Except we show the actual user interface that you see in the desktop.
Yeah.
But they do this sort of alternative version of this, right? And
Yeah.
you can load this as a thing in VS Code as well.
Oh,
and
that's
kind of have
cool.
this as like a sidebar. But there's a lot of stuff you can do in this. So if you click on any of these, you can like go to that, and that checks it out in your working directory, right? So you can kind of switch back and forth between those commits. Yeah, so that changes your working directory when you're doing this. So it's running the server, and then whatever you're clicking, it kind of does on the command line. You can also like change the commit message, right? If you click on one of them, yeah, exactly.
Oh, and there's like an amend button.
Yep.
Cool.
You amend it. You can uncommit it, which kind of just puts it back in your working directory.
Yeah.
You can rebase stuff. So if you edit stack, there's this button called edit stack down there. It's right there. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So
yeah,
we can,
you can move commits up and down.
Huh? Wait, what?
You just squashed it. Yeah.
I
mean, that's pretty cool though, right? Like you squashed it.
It's very cool. It's just,
you can remove it. You can grab it, drag it.
Neat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you save the changes, and it rebases stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. The other thing that you can do is split. So I want to show the split first. So go to replace good markdown files with rubbish text.
Yeah, we've got two files.
And hit the split button on the side.
Oh, there's
a split button.
Why is it? Okay.
Yeah. You can also, I think, right click or something. But yeah, hit split.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that works too.
Oh
boy, what did you do?
I deleted the.
Oh boy, what did you do?
I removed the entire contents of the.
Yeah, you did. So yeah, if to split, it's like, okay, here's how, like you can even split it into multiple, I think, and then just move sort of the changes back and forth, right?
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
So can we like move like individual lines of a commit?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
We don't do that.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Okay.
And then hit split, and then it fixes it.
Very
and you can
cool.
change the commit message at the top there.
Yeah.
At least the one-liner.
Some development changes.
Oh.
Some more.
Bloop. Okay, so now we have a split commit. I actually really like this because there's a lot of kind of just look at it and click the button, and then it runs the thing, and you don't have to memorize sort of all the command line options, but all of this is doable in the command line as well.
That's very cool. How do they manage conflicts with this?
Well, let's do it. So I think you can go to the improved documentation again. Does that conflict? Did you do a conflicting? No, you didn't do a conflicting
not between
change.
here and here.
No. Because you can, I think you can do like a rebase thing here. But let's...
yeah, so go back to here, and I want to change the same set of lines that I did.
Okay, let's do that.
Then, yes, that was the ESLint config, and let's just other a comment.
Sure. How did you do an umlaut y?
I don't know. It was like, what? Ooh. Oh, my days. So, can we also commit from this web UI thingy? Ooh, it's got a little staging area and everything.
Fucking do it.
So, made change to cause pain.
Sure.
And then I guess that button. Cool. Okay, neat.
Okay.
So I have this thingy and I have this thingy.
I think you can right click and do a rebase, and let's rebase it on top of the stack.
So
rebase onto.
Rebase on. Oh boy.
Ew, no, you can't.
Current stack.
Okay, you can't do that.
Can't we just frickin'...
Oh, you can! Run Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That's kind of a GitButler thing, eh?
Yeah. You gotta hit run rebase. That is pretty neat. Oh boy.
Ooh.
There's your merge conflicts.
Okay, so they don't have first class merges.
No, they stop at everything, but it is easier than Git, right? Actually, if you're doing this, I mean, to a degree, because you have this nice sort of visual thing of this. So now you have to go in, fix the conflict.
Okay, so standard, this sort of doohickey.
Yeah. It does the same thing we do. It does the three-way.
Yeah. It is the only good way of displaying diffs, except you're wrong about zdiff. Zdiff is wrong. Just standard diff3 is better.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You're welcome.
I will accept that criticism. All right. So now you click on that file right there, ESLint config.
I see it 3 times on my screen.
The one on my left. Hover over that file. I think you can hit the little checkbox.
Little check resolve.
Yeah. Now continue, and you're done. Click any of the continue buttons.
Can I click this one?
No. All right, so now you're done. Let's do the next thing, which is submit this for review.
Okay,
Right? Now
cool.
you have two sort of branches.
Yeah.
And we can think about these as stacks, right?
Yeah.
Stacked branches. So the way that it wants to do it is open up a PR for each commit.
Right. And that's why you're referring to them as like stacked branches, right?
This is a very stacked workflow. Like
Yeah.
the way that Meta wants to work is the sort of Google way. Like everything, each commit is a reviewable sort of change.
Yeah. So
if you have a stack, they should be merged in that order.
Yeah.
If they're independent, then you have different branches, right?
Yeah. So they want to make a PR for every individual commit.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's make a PR for every individual commit.
Nice.
So they actually have a thing. They only really work with GitHub, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
They even have their own thing that wraps GitHub PRs to make stacked PRs easier, called Review Stack or something. That's an open source thing as well, but you can also just do it straight on GitHub, kind of the way that GitButler does it. Yeah. So I believe it's SLPR submit.
Okay.
So let's run on the command line. I think you can do it with a button there that you discovered, but
I think this one.
Yeah. But let's do it on the command line.
SLPR submit and boop. Cool.
Boop.
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 Boop. Boop. Boop. Okay.
Neat.
So that's on the. So if you run SL, you are on that branch. So it did those two. If you go to the top to 963 or whatever, and you submit, it'll open up another 4, right?
And then SLPR submit. I'm just opening so many bullshit PRs on our repository.
It's okay. I already did it this morning. Look at all these PRs open.
Oh boy!
Now go to one of them because it's kind of cool. It puts in the footer similar to the way we do it, right?
Oh, neat. So it's got the little like linky up.
So the way that they do it is a little different than the way that we do it. So they actually, if you go to that one, actually, if you're on that one, you can see. Go to the first one.
This one.
Improved documentation. You have 1 commit on this, right? Go to the second one on top of it. You have 2. So they both target master.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas we target the one before it.
Yes.
Because there's some GitHub stuff that if you close one, it rebases or something.
Yeah.
I forget how that works. But they do a very similar thing. They put in the body and then they do this little footer thing that says, what to do and to link to both. So, and then if you go to the command line again.
Oh, cool.
Or even the website.
Yeah.
But,
I was just looking at this review stack.
Yeah, that's the wrapper to GitHub PRs that I was talking about, where they kind of help make this stack branching thing a little bit.
Okay, so got a better yield.
So you can run your own, or there's like review stack.dev or something like that.
Cool.
I'm not entirely sure.
So sorry.
So now run SLSSL, which is
SSL.
super smart log.
You're killing me.
So this does some network request to figure out what the current status is. So if you close one of these, for example, and then you run SSL, it will go over the network. Like SmartLog by default will not go over the network so that it's fast.
Makes sense.
Let's just close this.
Yeah.
And then you run SSL, then it shows up as closed, right?
Very cool.
So you can actually see kind of the thing there. Actually, an interesting one is SL githelp. So if you're almost everybody's coming from Git, and so githelp, one word, SL githelp, and then -- and then a git command. How about git reset? Or yeah. So what it does is it tries to figure out what you're trying to do and then tell you how you would do it in Sapling, which is kind of cool, right? If you're used to Git and you're like, how would I know how to do this in Git, how would I do this here? So the last interesting thing I think is undo. So you can do SL undo, but okay, you undid it. You can also do undo -I, which is an interactive undo.
Ooh.
And so if you hit the left and right buttons, it will go through, like, here's what your history looked like. And then you just hit enter and it goes back to that point in time, which is that's pretty cool.
Scott.
Yeah.
We need to do this.
I know, right? That's cool.
This is really cool.
That is super cool. I'm impressed by this.
Cool.
I'll show you one more thing because I do think this is cool as well. So edit, do SL. I want to know where you are now. Okay, so now edit the ESLint file again. Perfect. Do SL absorb.
Oh, very cool.
So it's interactive, right? It's like, here's the thing, here's where I want to put it,
yeah.
right? Made change to cause pain. So that's the last commit that you had. But it will go back and try to find sort of like the earliest thing that makes, or like which commit makes sense.
Yeah.
And then says, do you want me to do that? And then you can say yes or no. And so if you say yes, then it'll just absorb it, right?
Oh, cool. So that like amends the commit with the where it thinks is the best fit. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So what have we learned today, Caleb?
So we've seen various ideas that Sapling has incorporated in JJ and in GitButler. But what's really cool to see is how they've tied it together in like a really coherent like workflow that works for them.
I like the web thing. I like the interactive undo. I feel like we should steal those ideas to a degree.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we could do a thing where we just open up our interface in a browser, so you don't have to run the interface, which I think would be pretty cool. The interactive undo thing of like, here's what the state looks like. I really do want to steal that idea.
No, the interactive undo is really cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is open source. It's available for everybody. It works great with Git, with GitHub. If I don't think actually it works with anything else. So, but if you're using GitHub pull requests, if you're doing stacked stuff, this is a pretty cool thing to play around with. Cool. Yeah. And actually, it's fun if you run commands in this. This is the last thing I'll point out.
Okay.
In the web thing at the bottom, it's tells you how to do it on, like what it ran on the command line.
That is cool.
Like in order to accomplish that, right? So you can kind of learn the command line as you're using the web interface.
That's very cool.
Which is pretty cool. All right, so we'll close it out. Try out Sapling, or just use GitButler. But always steal ideas from other companies. Cheers. Sans serif might be better.